So WWE has finally moved to Netflix. After months and months and months of advertising, we are finally here. We have had our first episode on Netflix, and as a wrestling fan that's been watching for most of my life, I want to go ahead and talk about what I liked and what I didn't like about it. Let's get into the video. Now, like I said, I've been watching WWE since I was just like a little kid, dating all the way back to like 97, 98, the end of the WCW era, the end of the Monday Night Wars, PG era, and onward and upward. I've been around watching WWE for quite some time, whether it was me and my family or me and my friends or just me by myself. I've always found myself gravitating to pro wrestling, as I'm imagining some of you out there do as well. From the start, I just want to say the production value on this was top tier. They definitely went all out as far as like everything they possibly could do. There was a lot of different nuances to the production team that I don't think has been there before. Like they had drones that were like zipping around the actual stadium, like above the fans, as well as like going outside the arena, inside the arena. And then like all the seats in the arena had like LEDs in them where like they would like light up and they were synced with the actual show itself, which made it really immersive. And I actually really enjoyed it to a certain extent with this show. I know it's not going to be an everyday thing for most of these things, I guess. I'm hoping that some of these things maybe do continue going forward because as we've seen, like Triple H isn't afraid to try something new and see if they like it. And if they don't, then they won't do it again. But I think overall, a lot of production choices were done really great on this TV show or on this streaming show, whatever you want to call it. To actually start the show proper, we got this like really cool hype package, kind of like it's like a montage of all like a bunch of memorable clips throughout history of WWE. Triple H reading this really awesome dialogue, kind of just briefly telling the story of pro wrestling, kind of breaking it down for like maybe a newer fan that doesn't quite understand some of the pageantry and some of the lingo and all the other stuff. I thought it was really awesome. And then like, you get pyro, Triple H is then in the middle of the ring, and then Triple H asks us if we're ready, and then welcomes us to the Netflix era. The arena then goes dark, and our first surprise of the night was none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson gracing Los Angeles with his presence and kicking off the first episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I think this is really awesome. The Rock coming back always is a big deal. He's the freaking Rock. Like, what else do you want me to say? I do wish he maybe had more of a storyline purpose to be there. He came out and he acknowledged Cody Rhodes as being a great champion over the last year, which I thought was kind of strange. And then he also said he acknowledges Roman Reigns, his cousin. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, this is cool. But I thought you were the final boss, the bad guy, the heel. So maybe there's something cooking. I'm going to let WWE work their magic, but we're going to see what happens next week. Overall, The Rock coming out was the first surprise of the night, and I say first because there was many. This was really awesome to kind of kick off this new generation on Netflix. The first match we get is pay-per-view worthy. Like, we end up getting Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa battling it out for the right to the Ula Fala. It was a tribal combat match, which basically means bloodline rules. They're basically one and the same thing, and you can't have a bloodline rules match without interference from the bloodline. So, of course, we got Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu coming in and interfering and helping Solo Sikoa. As they're going to do so, we had Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso coming out to the arena to ward off Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. But as soon as Roman's starting to get his bearings and really starting to come to gain control of the situation, who were to come out other than Kevin Owens hitting Roman Reigns with the stunner, and then after that, pulling Solo over the top. But when Roman kicks out, Kevin Owens then gets upset and is about to pile drive Roman. But who comes to save the day? Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the WWE Undisputed Champion, comes out to make the save once again. Now it is just Solo and Roman. Roman ends up getting the spear, getting the pinfall, and getting the 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns is now the only tribal chief in WWE. I think that was the best result. I think that's what we all expected anyway. It's finally here. We can maybe now start to move past this part of the bloodline story and maybe start telling something else. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. Paul Heyman then gets into the ring and is about to bestow Roman with the Ula Fala. The Rock then makes another appearance, comes out, takes it from Paul Heyman, and then gives it to Roman Reigns. They shake hands and have a big, warm, family feel-good moment. Roman Reigns is now the official tribal chief. After that, we did go to commercial, but before we did get to full commercial, we did get a little teaser for a masked luchador, maybe? Then the word Penta shows up on screen. I wonder if that's going to mean anything. But then we also get an announcement that the Royal Rumble in 2026 will be in Saudi Arabia, which, it is what it is. The shows are a little bit earlier, so I don't have to watch at night. I mean, that's kind of cool, but I don't really have a feeling one way or another, so go on to the next thing here, I guess. The next thing on the list was actually John Cena. This is the first stop of of John Cena's farewell tour. As a kid that grew up watching John Cena, we all know that Cena is the reason a lot of us are wrestling fans. Like, let's be honest. Like, if you're my age, you grew up in the height of John Cena's career. He was always in the main event. Now, I know that rubs some people the wrong way. And I think he's now been gone long enough that some of these people actually kind of miss him. I think this is going to be a really fun experience, and I'm glad that me and my son are now going to watch John Cena's retirement tour together. I'm just glad I'm getting this opportunity. John Cena comes out, says thank you to LA. This was the place where his career basically started. This is where the prototype, if you know, was first kind of constructed, where he was working at Gold's Gym while he was learning how to be a wrestler. And he even won his first world title in Los Angeles. Honestly, LA was a fitting place for him to come out and have this kind of a moment. Now, John Cena, being John Cena, we all wanted to know what's going to be on the agenda. He teased several matches with the likes of Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. He then ended his promo with the announcement that he was going to enter the Royal Rumble, that he was going to win the Royal Rumble, and essentially go to WrestleMania and get his 17th World Heavyweight Championship. I'm super excited for this. I can't wait to watch. So again, we're going to have to tune in next week to see what's going on. But overall, John Cena's retirement tour, I think, kind of started off on a high note. We then get this promo video for Logan Paul. Logan Paul is now moving to Monday Night Raw and going off of SmackDown. I think this is to be expected. I think Netflix obviously wants that star power of Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul kind of wants that star power of saying, I was on Netflix. So I think it's a perfect symbiotic relationship. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like Logan Paul. I don't really know him personally. However, he's a damn good pro wrestler. I gotta give the man some credit for that. Moving on to the next official match, we did have Liv Morgan defending her Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley. This match and this feud may have gone on a little too far. You know, this has been better part of 6 months where we've been dealing with Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley in some sort of capacity. I think it's great that we finally are, hopefully you're getting an end to this, because Rhea Ripley did reclaim her women's championship, but that was after there was interference by Dominic Mysterio. They tried to do the ref distraction thing where Dom tries to throw in the title belt, ref gets distracted, Raquel then slides in a chair, Liv ends up hitting Rhea Ripley with an oblivion on the chair, Rhea kicks out, Liv then tries to go for the Three Amigos, much to all the boos of the Los Angeles crowd. She then gets up on the ropes and hits a frog splash. Total shout out Eddie Guerrero. In the end, Rhea Ripley then hits Liv Morgan with 2 riptides and regains her women's championship. And after the match, Dominic Mysterio enters the ring, seemingly trying to ask for forgiveness and offering out a hug to Rhea Ripley. Ripley then laughs, extends her arms, acting as if she was going to reciprocate the hug, and then kicks him in the boys. The arena went nuts. Dominic Mysterio has been embarrassed once again by Rhea Ripley on national TV, and I'm all here for it. But as Rhea Ripley was then leaving the arena, getting ready to go up the stage and hit her pyro with the champion's pose and everything else, what do we hear? That's right, we had the Undertaker make an appearance to seemingly pass the torch to Rhea Ripley. Comes out in full American Badass attire, rides around on his Harley all the way around the ring, goes up to the top of the stage right next to Rhea. They do the whole Undertaker pose, then the over-the-shoulder look thing, and that was just an awesome segment, and I'm just excited for Rhea Ripley to kind of have that iconic moment that's going to live on forever with Netflix. I think that was a really cool thing as well. Now, moving into the next backstage segment we did have Adam Pearce backstage talking to Bayley, so it looks like Bayley might be moving over to Monday Night Raw through this transfer portal, or whatever we're calling it here in WWE this time around, where Chad Gable then interrupts and says, I want a match against any luchador. I don't care. I'm good. I could beat any luchador. And I've never been more sure about this in my life. Adam Pearce seems to have the perfect idea come to mind. I wonder who that could be. But I guess we'll have to wait till next week to find out. Then we had Jey Uso making his entrance with Travis Scott, and this place was just electric. Like, let's be honest, Jey Uso has one of the most entertaining theme songs in the arena, just going crazy. Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, and to quote, they were yeeting all over themselves. Gotta give props to McAfee and Michael Cole. They are a god tier level of announcing team, and I think we just need to make sure somehow we get them permanently to working together all the time. I know it's probably selfish, but that's what I said, and that's what I mean. So WWE, make that happen. But moving on, the match itself with Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre McIntyre was actually pretty solid. Kind of went back and forth at times. Like, they were both hitting each other with chops, with right hands. They were, super kicking each other. They were doing everything they could, just beating the hell out of each other. After a while, it seemed like Drew McIntyre did have the upper hand on Jey Uso. It really seemed as if Drew McIntyre was going to win. Drew McIntyre was lining up the last Claymore. Jey Uso then collapsed to the center of the ring, and McIntyre got a little into his own head, took his eyes off the ball, and Jey Uso hit him with the roll up. 1, 2, 3. Jey Uso then beats Drew McIntyre. We get to now see what Drew McIntyre is going to do next week. Hopefully continue this Bloodline Killer story arc, but we're going to see what happens. We then got a video promo for Gunther, which is awesome. I mean, the World Heavyweight Champion, the champion of Raw, has to get on the show somehow, I guess. So put him in a video package. But I thought that was kind of cool. Then we go backstage. There is a backstage interview with Gabriel Iglesias, also known as Fluffy. That was then interrupted by The New Day. The New Day saying that they deserve their TV time, but why are they getting shafted? Next thing we had backstage, we had Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman walking through the backstage arena. Paul Heyman says, "My tribal chief, when will the world be able to acknowledge you?" And Roman Reigns then says, January 27th, which is, I believe, 2 weeks from now, on Monday. They go through a door, and as the door closes, we see a 2K25 logo. So I wonder if in 2 weeks we get the announcement for 2K25. That would only make sense. And then one of the last surprises of the night was we saw Hulk Hogan coming out with Jimmy Hart waving an American flag. This promo, it is what it is. It's Hulk Hogan. If you liked it, you liked it. If you don't like him, you didn't like it. I personally, I know you might have your disagreements with Hogan. I don't necessarily like everything he says or does, but I do think Hulk Hogan has earned his right within professional wrestling, and he is a legend within this business. It's still kind of cool to see him show up from time to time. We haven't seen him in quite some time, so I think it was pretty cool to just get a little shout out from him and let Netflix know that Hulkamania is still running wild, brother. And then finally, we do have Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, which was our main event of the night. And what can I say? These are just two world-class professional athletes that really know how to entertain a crowd. They both have definitely paid their dues. As much as they hate each other, they obviously have some sort of respect for each other because they knew exactly how to make the other one look good. Like, CM Punk tried to do the curb stomp. Seth Rollins did the go to sleep. They had a pedigree out on the announce table. They did everything they possibly could. Seth Rollins hit Punk with a buckle bomb. Felt like they were really just going to war. They took every move in their moveset. Sorry, CM Punk, but they took every move in their moveset and they definitely put it out there on the TV screen. In the end, CM Punk hit Seth Rollins with not one, but two go to sleeps right at the very end, and CM Punk got victory over Seth Rollins. And I'm sure Seth Rollins will be pissed, and I'm sure we'll hear all about it next week on Monday. But for now, CM Punk is undefeated in 2025. So now, overall, I think the show was pretty fantastic. Like, WWE has always been on the forefront of evolution and change. And I think this is just another demonstration of how they're going to do that going forward. So if you weren't a WWE fan and you're somehow finding out about it through this Netflix endeavor, welcome. And I hope you're having a great time because pro wrestling is a pretty awesome thing to watch, especially when you have a bunch of people around you that really like it too. If it's your first time watching, thank you for tuning in. But if you haven't and you have some other opinions you want to share, let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel. It's the first video we're making. I just want to see where we can go with this. Got my son finally watching wrestling with me, and I want to start recording and kind of documenting my experience and maybe getting some memories just of the family, like doing this, because this is what me and my family have always done. I guess without further ado, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Be safe out there, and let me know what you think of Monday Night Raw in the comments. Until next time, peace.